Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. It's Denise Salcedo, and today I am thrilled to bring today's guest because we got none other than Jack Cartwheel. Jack, welcome back to the channel. How are you?
What's up? I'm doing great, feeling blessed. I'm excited to be here. And yeah, how are you?
So stoked to talk to you today. I'm so excited for you. I was telling you this off air, and I might as well mention it right at the top of this video. But you and I did an interview several years ago. It was 3 years ago. I remember the first time that I saw you was at PWG, and I was like, I gotta get this guy on the show because he is going to be a big star. And you've done a lot since then. You're welcome. And then by the time, like, here we are now, and look at you, you got the WWE ID jacket on. uh Jack, how are you?
Good. That's awesome that it was PWG that the first time that you saw me. Those shows are so awesome, and like I'm so stoked to be a part of that brand at some point. And like just getting into wrestling, some of those YouTube highlight videos that PWG would post were like the ones that like I would watch rather than some of the full long length wrestling shows. So it was just such an honor to be able to be a part of that show, and just being in Los Angeles too, where I was based at. Like yeah, so that's cool that that's where you saw me first.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, the trajectory has definitely been going pretty well for you. Obviously, since then, you've been really making the rounds all over the indie scenes, but you have been doing so much with GCW. It just so happened to be the place that you got scouted at for the ID program. Jack, I remember going on social media on Twitter, and I pop in and I see on my timeline feed, Jack Cartwheel is a new prospect for the WBI program. And I'm like, holy shit. I was like, what? And so let's get into that. How did this happen in terms of who reached out to you? When did you first hear about the program? And how did it all get started for you in regards to that?
Well, first of all, I want to say that like my heart just like dropped just kind of thinking about that moment and how that day really went, and just how big that news was. That it the Yeah, I was just so honored and blessed to be a part of it. Um, the idea kind of started. Maybe I was hearing some rumblings from it like last summer of, hey, like really start tuning up on all of your wrestling moves and all of your matches. Start tuning up. Like the time to get ready is over. The time to be ready is now. It's time to make that next step. So just taking time to get my diet a lot more right, and doing the shows that I think would have better reps in order to like have better opponents to kind of tell those stories that hey, with the ID program, it's no longer going to be about the insane moves that you can do. It's going to be about really telling those stories. And I mean, at most indie promotions, the way that you can get rebooked is by just having a banger match that the fans like. And that's still a very big part of the process, but it's on a much bigger scale now. We got to think about long term and where we're really at. So and yeah, when I heard about the news, it was just like amazing. I was some of my parents, like I was talking with my parents about it, and just kind of what they think it is, and just because it was such a big thing that I was like, I don't know what else I would want to do rather than be a part of this program. So I mean, and I said yes, like of course I'm gonna take it. Yeah. So I know I didn't give you a big timeline on that, but
No, I was gonna say I love your insight on that because because when you're out there, right, when you are, making the rounds in the indies, you're so used to, like, going to the show, doing your match, packing up, going to the next show, and doing what you do right during that cycle of hitting all of these shows. And so I feel like you kind of get lost like in the rhythm of that. And even though your eventual goal is to make it to, like, WWE or AEW or New Japan or all of these big companies that you can make like a full-time living, you kind of get lost in the hustle and bustle of things. So that moment that you finally hear, okay, it's time to start doing things a little bit different, And I think that's very, very interesting because you're right. When it comes to the indies, it's like you do got to make sure that you're putting on the great matches. But when it comes to the TV stuff, it's like more than that. So I guess my next question to you is, because when we started first hearing about the ID program, there was sort of a lot of questions in the air of like, what really is this? What's going on? What did the talent actually get? Is this a good thing for the business? Is this not a good thing? Like, what is going on, right? And so, Jack, like when you first heard of the WWE ID program, what was your initial reaction to that? And what have you said? What has your experience been like with the actual program? Also, shout out to your kitty.
Okay.
What is it?
Yeah, he's just gonna be chilling behind my
Oh,
shoulder.
so cute. He's like, I want to be a
Uh,
star too.
yeah. So yeah, like I mean, I think it's such a great thing. I don't understand how anybody could think that there's a negative side even to it. Just the idea that we will have WWE signed talent coming to independent shows. It's just such a great way for us to bring more attention to these independent shows that feel like perhaps they've been uh, forgotten about or left to the side or something. And it just gives a lot more attention to those promotions, which is this is a great thing. And hopefully we can draw more people and more attention to any show that we do. And that's why WWE ID is such a beneficial thing for the whole industry. And also having any opponent that we're having a match with is that match is going to be seen by WWE executives that even if it's somebody who's like pretty new into the business, we're still going to send the match to them to let them know what or so we can know what they think of that match and that person gets an opportunity to be seen by these by very high ranking people in the company. And I think a lot of the idea as well, which isn't very clear to some people yet, so I'm so glad I get to explain it, that a big part of the WWE ID is like we're running a wrestling promotion through that Twitter account. So we're wrestling each other at different independent shows all throughout the United States with different storylines within each other. And it's not happening on a WWE ID physical show. It's happening at MCW in Los Angeles, and it's happening at FIP in Florida. And like next week, I have a match against Gal at Second Wrestling in Chicago. So it's really a nationwide thing where we're having matches against each other, and you can follow who's doing better and who's doing worse. And unfortunately, right now, I'm on a 3-match losing streak. It is terrible. I have a very emotional promo that's going to be coming out soon, just kind of telling people how I really feel about that. But yeah, it's I think a great thing, and also to give aspiring wrestlers uh, access to those matches so they can watch those matches and say, "Oh, this is." I have to do stuff like that if I want to make it to WWE. If I want to pick up my game, let me watch some WWE ID matches because that's literally the people who have been selected to be on that stage so we can kind of show kind of putting together a match and like dissecting it for the people themselves.
That is very, very cool. I think you're right. It does, lend for like a cooler spotlight on some of these matches. Oh, Kitty's like, I want to be famous. I love it. And so, Jack, with that being said, from what I saw, not only do you get, this WWID prospect badge, right? And you're, like you said, your matches are being highlighted in these different promotions, and you guys are giving each other feedback. What I had read about the program too was, they offer like, I think, if correct me if I'm wrong, but availability to like the Performance Center and mentorship and that type of stuff. What kind of training have you received from WWE, whether it's at the Performance Center, whether it's promo classes, things like that, or even mentorship with some of the legends or other people in the WWE world?
Yeah, there's I've received a lot of training through the PC right now, which is just insane for me to say and think about that I was like really there, like really did. So and yeah, that's just so cool to say that I got to do that. And gotten a lot of critiques and lessons from like Fit Finley about just being a lot more, I don't want to say stiff. I mean, make sure that stuff is safe, but making sure that the realism of pro wrestling is protected, and making sure that the business itself is protected, that we're really out there putting our whole bodies on the line every single night. And it's and that's something that's like slowly being forgotten and lost. So having some lessons in that sort of way, and from uh, coach, I want to say Coach Regal, just making the realism of the pins like really means something, rather than laying on somebody's stomach. You should be laying on their chest, because in actual amateur wrestling, you're never going to pin somebody when you're that low on their body. So things like that, with also the storytelling aspect of it, that if I'm wrestling a big guy, why am I trying to knock him down with one or two things? Like, it's not going to happen. Like, that's not going to work. So I'm going to have to put a lot more effort into knocking those larger guys down. And also, then when I finally do it, it means so much more for the audience that, hey, I finally got that thing that I like couldn't do throughout the whole rest of the match. um I had another thing I wanted to say about that, but I can't remember it right now. But yeah, those are some of the bigger things that we've been preached to so far, and just so much of the emotion of it, like just making sure that the audience knows that you care, and making sure that they can really feel something from the match, because I mean, that's what this business is all about, is portraying feeling, and making sure that people can uh, connect and want to come back for more.
That's very cool. I love the way that they're sort of, we know that you can do the moves right when you're out there. We know that you can put a match together. But now, on top of that, they're like teaching you the psychology of little things that even some of the fans, like, we don't always think about, like the way you pin somebody, things like that. I love that, because that's only going to make you, just even better. Right. And it's little things. I know we see it on TV. We get used to these wrestlers going out there and essentially making everything look like a walk in the park. But there is so much that goes into that. And I love the way that you are, taking that in and sort of soaking that in like a sponge, because that's only going to make you a better performer. So you kind of mentioned, being at the performance center and having like this, sort of like, kind of feeling like, oh my God, like I'm actually here. How long have you been getting to go to the performance center now? And have you gotten used to it? Do you still have like the little, like the nerves in the valley of like, oh my God, I'm really here? Has the reality of it all really set in for you?
Uh, I hate that I started with
No, it's
it's
okay. I do it too. And
it's
this is what I do for a living. And I hear myself do things and I'm like, stop it. Don't do that.
it's always nerve wracking. I don't think you should get comfortable with it and any time, because the moment that you're comfortable, you're complacent with where you're at and how you feel about it. So I think I'm still getting very, very nervous every time, because I mean, it just means so much to me, and to be able to represent for independent guys throughout the whole United States. If I go in there and poop the bed, then maybe I represent other people, and this type of opportunity won't be able to come again for some of those people. So I take great pride in being able to be there. And I've just put my whole effort into being there as well, because the cardio and conditioning is no joke. So if you're an indie guy out there thinking about, oh, it's a walk in the park to be there, it's not. They're training every single day. They are doing miles every single day, every single training session. And yeah, I mean, it's a job, right? So uh, take it very seriously, and I'm super. just blessed to be able to be a part of that as well. So yeah.
That's so cool. So you mentioned getting some experiences with the coaches, while like William Regal and Fit Finley and all of that. Have you had any one-on-one time with any of the wrestlers just yet, or has that not just happened? Or maybe even like on the indies, because there are several times where you do see some of these legends, people that have been at the mountaintop, make appearances for GCW and things like that.
Yeah, I have there trying to think of some meaningful interactions, because I think a lot of the times when I'm there, I don't want to take too much of other people's time. It's a lot of hey, how are you? Hey, I'm Jack. Stuff like that, until I get to that level of a relationship to where we can have some like longer conversations. Uh so nothing really speaks 100% to mind of that, of like who exactly I've talked to and what I've really taken from some of those one-on-one, just regular relationship kind of conversations. But I know that all the people there are good people, and all the people there are really looking out for us and trying to make us better, and trying to make the business better. So yeah, and I've got to talk with like tons of really great uh, legends. Uh, just a lot of it has been like in passing, where it's a hi, how are you? Let me go to work, because I don't want to like waste a lot of your time when you have other important things to get to, because they're there for their job as well.
Oh, I get it. I 100%. I was like, when I was hearing you say that, I was like, oh my God, me and Jack have something in common, because I have that same fear of, not like a fear, but I'm always very like cautious of people's times, and like just you want to take a second until you go up to them and you're like, hey, like, let me ask you about this. What should I get for this promo? Or what? It is one of those things that it does take a second to get used to. So I guess with that being said, Jack, for you, now that you have been a part of the program, this started, you made the announcement came out November 8th. We're, well in a couple of months now in February. How do you feel that you've grown as a talent, as a wrestler, as a performer, since you took part of the WWE ID program?
I think a lot of my promo skills have gotten much better, just kind of getting some of the critiques from the coaches in the program of, hey, like, you don't have to yell the whole time, like it's okay to get into that groove later in the promo, like start with talking, and then when you get more intense and something else comes up and something else pops into your mind, then now you can start really going at it and talking about the stuff that you really care about, and then you could also drop it back down. um definitely my promos have gotten better. I think that a lot of my psychology and just understanding that later on in the match, you have to still be feeling the things that occurred earlier in the match. Like my back is still hurting from the suplex that I took uh, in minute 4 of the match, and now it's minute 8, and I can't pick up this guy right now because that happened to me earlier. Things like that have been very important in the matches that we've been getting reviews from. Uh, so yeah, I would say that, and I think also working on the fly, just working the fundamentals, just being comfortable in spending a minute in a headlock, and just other ways of working just a simple headlock, and that you can work that headlock for 2 or 3 minutes if you can do it the right way, with the right leaning and the right psychology of every single time that it gets cranked, it hurts more and more, and then you try to get out and you can't get out one way, you can't get out another way, you can't get out a third way, and now you try to give them a pin with that. Now you try to like get out with a pin, and that still doesn't work, and then now after all of that different ways of trying to fight out of it, now you give them a strike, because you can't get out of the headlock any other way from actual wrestling and the fundamentals of it, until you get into the strikes of what would be like a very heel move, because the face is ranking your head so hard and you can't get out of it in any sort of way. So now you have to resort to fighting rather than starting with a strike exchange. for no reason.
I love this. I love this breakdown. It's so fun to like just hear how you feel like you've gotten better as a wrestler, as a performer through the program. One of the things I, of course, have to ask you, and I did watch your promo on the Twitter page for WWE ID, and it was in regards to a recent announcement that Triple H shared on social media, which was that there are now WWE ID championships for the men and for the women. And you made a promo talking about how if you were to become champion, you would obviously be defending it across the board. If that opportunity came and you were able to be like the first ever WWE ID champion, man, Jack, how would that feel for you?
Oh, that would feel fantastic. I mean, I would love that. That would be a dream come true upon all these other dreams and upon all these other blessings that I've already been receiving with this program. It would mean so much pride to me as well, just to be able to carry a championship. That would mean so much. And to be able to represent WWE ID and give as many chances to any competitor all throughout the United States who wants a shot at that title. And I meant what I said when I tweeted that I really do believe that I'm one of the only guys in the ID program who can make that happen, who can really make it to as many shows as possible to give as many people a shot to bring forth so much more prominence to this title that and it would just mean so much, and it would be just a badge of honor. And I'm my only question is like, would it have a spin wheel? Could we add a spin wheel on the ID title with a that's
I
it.
really, there you go, the little wheel. That'd be great. Oh man. All right, Jack. So before we wrap things up, I do have a couple more questions for you. And really it's just to kind of like follow up because again, the last time we spoke, you were sort of, in a different part of your life. You were still doing you were doing football at the time and you were wrestling, you were going to school, you were doing all of these things. Are you now full-time with pro wrestling or are you still doing things outside of wrestling?
I'm full time in wrestling, and I mean it's just such a blessing to be able to say that. But I'm far from free in that sort of way that like this is the only thing that I'm focused on. That I still dribble, dabble in like some other things just so I can keep my sanity at sometimes. But yeah, pro wrestling is my main source of income, which is just so awesome to be able to say. And it's there's just so many people out there who dream of getting to this moment, and I mean, I'm far from being comfortable with it because there's a lot of other things that still need to be uh, done before I can like really claim that like it is all that I do. But it's pretty close. It's pretty close.
You'll get there, man. I feel like so much has happened in such a short period of time. I mean, when you think about it, you started wrestling in 2019, which was, I know in a pandemic era, it's all kind of weird. We're like, oh my God, all of a sudden it's 2025. But, and it feels like a long time, but it really is when you stand back and you look at that timeline. And it is a really short period of time where you started wrestling, you made a name for yourself. Now you're part of the ID program. So I feel like you got to definitely give yourself credit for that. The fact that this is your full-time thing, like that's the goal for so many people, and it is exciting to see what you're gonna do. My last question for you is, and I feel like this one kind of falls in line with what a lot of what we've been talking about, which is when you think of your short-term, long-term ideal dream of where you'd like to be, for example, in the next 5 years, you know what, not even 5 years, the next 2, 3 years, what are those goals for you?
I see myself at WrestleMania. I really do. I When I was 16, I was at my friend Cody's house and was watching WrestleMania 33, and Roman Reigns walked down the ramp. And at that time, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, and I that moment that day, I made a promise to myself that that's the feeling that I was going to chase. And I feel like I'm only a year or two away from it. And I really believe that I can make it there if I can stay the course, keep the blinders on, and just cartwheel my heart out, you know? So, yeah, I envision myself doing that. I hope to one day have a match against Dragon Lee. He's one of my favorite wrestlers and somebody that I've looked up to my whole career. We had a match in AAA, and I think that we could, if we ran it back in WWE, that would just be insane. Like I don't know what other words there are to call it except for just a dream come true and a fantastic feeling. I picture I picture being a good role model, I think, is something else that's really important to me, that I want to be able to do it the right way rather than screwing other people over or something like that, or having a good attitude throughout the whole entire thing, whether it's even when I get serious critiques or that maybe I'm not doing enough or something. I really hope that I can keep my mindset right, where I'm just saying yes, yes, sir. Give me another one, you know, something like that, and just staying true to myself and uh, staying as humble as I can. Because I mean, there's so many people out there who will have different opinions, and I mean, it always hurts to see some of those mean comments, but and it's so tempting to lash back at it for some reason, but you know, you just can't, because then you're buying into it. So yeah, those sort of things.
I feel like you're on the right. You've just got a good head on your shoulders. It's the work that you put in, the way that you handle yourself, like you said, the way that you handle that critique and all of that. That really is going to be what defines your character. And I feel like that is what's going to take you very, very far in this business. Jack, I can't wait to see you, continue to kill it in the ID program. I can't wait till the moment where all of a sudden I'm seeing you on NXT. I can't wait to see you on the main roster, WrestleMania, all of that good stuff. And the next time we do this interview, obviously, let's not let 3 years pass by. But the next time that it happens, I'm very, very excited to see where you're going to be at that point. Before we wrap things up, of course, Jack, thank you so much. But where can people follow you right now? Check out your stuff, support you, maybe guys buy some of your merch, any of that stuff. Feel free to promote it.
Of course, yeah. Thank you. I need at least a little cut of your like 500,000 subscribers. Like,
Oh,
congratulations,
I would love to hit 500,000 subscribers.
congratulations to you. Like, you're
Thank you,
you're
Jack.
following.
Thank you.
You can follow me on Instagram is Jack Cartwheel, and on Twitter is also Jack Cartwheel. Those are kind of the only social medias that I consistently use. I deleted my TikTok because it's just on it too much. It's just negative. I don't need all that. So yeah, to keep up with the shows that I'm doing this weekend, I have 3 dates with GCW. Next weekend is match in Chicago and a match in Florida. Then the week after that is a match in Pittsburgh and a match here in Northern California. So very busy. I post fairly consistently. So yeah, it'd be on Instagram, Jack Cartwheel, and on Twitter, Jack Cartwheel. I have a YouTube, but I don't post on it as much. If you want to get any merch, I have a Big Cartel website, so that's cool too. Yeah, so that would be how to follow me, and also follow the WWE ID X account, so you can keep up with my journey and the journey of all the other prospects who are trying to make it in the more big leagues.
Hell yeah. Alrighty, guys. I'm going to post all of the links in the description box below of where you can follow Jack. Check out all of the stuff at the WWE ID program. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye, everyone.